As always, thank you so much for joining me for the Sanctuary Sunday School. First of all, I want to apologize for the lesson being so late. I actually shot the lesson early last week because I knew that I would not get back to the studio until this weekend, and I edited it, it was completed, and I lost the edited footage with all of the backgrounds and the PDF file included. So I was going to wait until I got back in this weekend and take the raw footage and re-edit it. But I've been getting requests for the lesson, and there are people who are teachers or who are trying to prepare for Sunday school this weekend. So I figured I'd go ahead and shoot it from home. I may post the other footage, completed edited footage, later this weekend. But for now, at least you have the lesson. So this subject, you know, sometimes God is really funny. Rejoice in all circumstances, and this, I'm living this lesson right now because I am a perfectionist, and I was so frustrated. I was thinking about not posting the lesson at all because I didn't have my beautiful studio, and all of the work I had put into it was lost. And then I thought about it, and I said, you know, the Word of God is more important than all of that stuff, and I am rejoicing now. And I'm going to take a picture because my setup right now is so bootleg. I literally have my camera propped up on a chair with a laundry basket on top of it to level it, and then I put a box on top to give me the height to prop my camera up to shoot this video. So this is so funny to me right now, but I am rejoicing in the Lord, and I am grateful just because I am still able to deliver this lesson to you. So we can find this lesson in the first chapter of the book of Philippians. Now, Philippians is a Pauline epistle, and we see that Paul is in jail because Paul was causing all kinds of problems. He had started preaching Jesus Christ, and the Roman rule, the Roman Empire, they served idol gods. So now he's preaching something different than what they were taught, and that Jesus was more powerful than their gods, and even that Jesus was more powerful than Caesar. And there was even a young lady who was following Paul and Silas around, and she was saying, this is the man of God, and mimicking them. And she had an evil spirit. She was like sorcery and witchcraft. And Paul cast the devil out of that girl. Problem is, she was a slave. So when she stopped doing that, her slave owners lost money. So, you know, Paul was just a problem, and he was put in jail. And you know, when you look at this and you think that he's in jail, right? And he didn't do anything. It was for no reason. Your first response will be, get me out of here, get my lawyer, you know, defending yourself. But that's not what his priority was. The first thing he talks about is the furtherance of the gospel. And he talks about that, how the gospel of Jesus Christ is manifest in all the palace. And so that's saying to me that not only am I writing this letter preaching to you, but I'm preaching right here in the palace, because Caesar needs to know Jesus. The centurions need to know Jesus. When you look at Jesus being crucified, that centurion at the cross, that was a Roman soldier, a powerful Roman soldier. And he said that surely this must be the Son of God. So Paul knew that Jesus was greater than the Roman Empire, and he preached Christ while he was there. And it said that the gospel of Jesus Christ would be manifest even in the palace. And not only that, he said, I hope, you know, that, or I see that my imprisonment has made my brothers, you know, they're more confident, they're more bold. I'm not there, I'm in prison, so now they're preaching. And you know, there's another part of this that I like, because he talked about different motives for preaching. There were some people who were probably glad that Paul wasn't there because they wanted his position. They wanted to take his place. They wanted to discredit him in some way. So now they're preaching possibly to prove that they're better than Paul was. And then there were those who were actually sincerely preaching the gospel of Christ and love, not wanting Paul's work to go undone. And Paul said, it doesn't even really matter to me what their motives are. The fact remains that the gospel is being preached. And that's a very timely lesson for us, because again, I say this often, the church is under such a huge attack, and people are saying that there's nothing to Christianity because of what they're seeing church people do. But if it's the word of God and it's the truth and you believe it, you cannot go wrong. This is what Paul is saying. All I really care about at this point is that the word of God is preached. And then he talks about his deliverance. You know, I don't have anything to be ashamed of. I've done nothing wrong, and I still am going to preach Christ. And he spoke of his deliverance. And you know, sometimes we see deliverance as fixing a bad situation, as ending what I'm going through and me coming out in a victorious manner. That's not what Paul said. Paul said, I have deliverance, whether I get out of here or whether I get killed. Either way, I have deliverance, because my deliverance is through the power of God and the power of the gospel and through Jesus Christ. That's what my deliverance comes from. So it does not matter what these judges and what Caesar may say, because God is my deliverer. And that is such a strong message. And then it gets down to one of my most favorite scriptures in the Bible, where he says, to live is Christ and to die is gain. What that says to me as a Christian is that I am in a win-win situation, regardless of what you say about me, regardless of what you do to me, regardless of what comes against me. I win, because my treasure is laid up in heaven. There's nothing that the world has greater than what God has for me. And who says to live is Christ. As long as I live, Jesus Christ is all that matters. I'm going to preach the gospel. And if I die, it's gain, because then I get to see Jesus face to face. One of my favorite songs is When I See Jesus. Amen. Amen means yes, Lord. It means complete submission. It means the end. It means accomplishment. And so this is the lesson when we talk, and when we know this, and when we have this assurance, then we can truly rejoice in all circumstances.